Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
World of Outlaws Dirt Racing 24 will be available September 17th. Pre-order your copy today.
Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Infinity Broadcasting, and welcome back to the iRacing World Challenge for the GT4 Challenge, round number 7 of Season 1 of 2024 here for us out at Mid-Ohio to bring you all the action in the Skibbity Riz Toilet round of the season, my guys. Hope you're well, besties. We're going to be going racing very, very shortly. I'm your commentator here this evening, Hamish Munro, bringing you all the action through sight and sound via the way of Infinity Broadcasting. And we will be getting underway very shortly with the qualifying session out here at Mid-Ohio. But, I mean, this circuit really offers up some phenomenal opportunities to go racing for these drivers here tonight. So we'll see. And we'll get a solid preview of how they're going to be able to rocket around here as quickly as possible. Track map up on your screens now. Big thank you out to Jay Kennedy of SimSpeed TV for providing me with these images. So we trickle our way on down to Mid-Ohio, not too far north of Columbus, not too far southwest of Cleveland. And we will be having the best of times as we race around quite a historic little hidden gem here in the United States. Of course, well known for the Michelin Pilot Challenge, where you can see the GT4s, or known as GSXs, race around this circuit every year, as well as for previously IMSA Grand Prix around here, 2.4 hours of GTP or LMP2 and GT3 action. 3.6 Ks or 2.2 miles in the old language. So it's been used ever since 1990, but it was opened back in 1962, 13 turns for the clockwise direction. We start on the main straight, then we have a fast run through turn 1. Drivers have to be careful tonight. If they end up in the pit lane, they need to be cautious of cars oncoming to turn 1, as the apex of the corner is right on the pit exit, then the run up towards the keyhole at turn 2. Great passing opportunity if you can set it up, but you also have an opportunity to get the switchback done and get the run down the straight towards 3 and 4 to get that position back. Hard braking zone, it's turn 4. Another good passing opportunity, but another opportunity to absolutely stuff it up in a glorious manner. The run up through 5 and 6. Tough little section of circuit. This circuit, like a lot, does not show the elevation changes. It's one of the biggest through 5 and 6, and it's a roller coaster run up through 7 and 8. You're hard, fast racing in towards the braking zone of turn 9, where you're struggling to pull the car up and tuck it in for the run up through 10, 11, and then for the hard braking zone of 12 and through turn 13. There could be chaos aplenty tonight. Plenty of opportunities for overtakes, plenty of opportunities for chaos to ensue for these drivers. It's about how well they can balance themselves and if they're going to get caught out in 4K, quite possibly. But the vibes are immaculate out at Mid-Ohio as we get going racing here this evening. 9 cars on the road tonight, so not a massive grid, but not a small one either. And with plenty of cars out on track, qualifying is underway. So we will keep an eye on how a lot of these drivers do here this evening. Jason Fewens, one of the fastest drivers in the early practice session, did such a good job. And he's just rolling on through himself in the background. He's got Jack Michelson in behind him at the moment. So their quali laps are underway. Fewens has gone fastest already in the first 2 sectors. What a breakout performance this could be for him tonight to get his car on the podium, possibly even get a win in the feature or even the heat here this evening. He's gone fastest again through sector 3. Rockets up towards the final couple of corners. Such a tough section. Very easy to get some washout. Very easy to run it out wide and end up in the grass. They're also going to have to be careful of that pit exit where, honestly, they could make a massive blunder and a massive mistake and end up in the wall or speeding through pits. Fewens will cross the line. He'll cross the line with his lap not counting, so Michelson's gone fastest. De Vries comes home P2. Ahead of Tyler Sheaf with Johnny Rowe. Johnny Rowe making up the top 4 in the 5.96. And Michelson is responding as Rowe makes a mistake off the exit of 1. He'll have to tow back and get it all started all over again. But Michelson's responded to his own lap. He's going faster once again. Anderson goes P3 in the V-Line livery. Hope he brought his Mikey this week. He might be copping himself a fine, driving slightly off the rails there through 1. Gets himself a little bit wide on the exit. Have to be careful of the off-tracks around here as well. But he's gone 129.7 to go P3 on the road at the moment. Ash De Vries rocketing round P2 at the moment in qualifying. What a breakout performance this could be for the basic white girl entry of the Monster Ultra Zero Sugar car of De Vries. Maybe he's trying to... maybe this is a bit of an omen car for him. Maybe he's trying to bring them into existence in his life, and that's what he wants, just a white chick who drinks white Monster. Maybe that's what De Vries wants. Ferguson's out there in the Shell V-Power entry, as well as his teammate Tyler Sheaf. Ferguson yet to set a time. Kyle Gretsch out there. I hope he brought his Mikey as well. He's out there in the South Australian train livery. Jared McLeod's in the field as well, yet to set a time. As Fewens goes P2, 129.28. There's only been 128 in the session at the moment in qualifying. That goes to Michelson. A couple of drivers got up there in practice, but it's whether they can put all the puzzle pieces together once again and actually find the pace that they need around this beautiful Mid-Ohio circuit. If you're watching with us tonight, be sure to get into the chat. Let us know which drivers you want us to keep an eye on, which drivers you want to see on screen and highlighted all evening. Get your predictions out there. Who's going to take the win in race 1 and race 2? Will Johnny Rowe and Jack Anderson have a crash together? Or will they continue on nice and freely? Ferguson's still the only driver yet to set a time in the session. He's coming around the final corner. Is this lap going to count for him? as he crosses the line in the Shell V-Power McLaren. It doesn't count, so he's copping off tracks left, right, and centre. Rowe's gone P8 and hard into the wall again at turn 1, so this could be quite a significant thing for Rowe. If he continues ending up like that off the exit of 1, it's going to be a tough job for him here tonight because, well, he does not want it to be a regular occurrence under green flag conditions during the race. Fewens is on for an absolute blinder. Comes round turn 13. He's got Michelson still behind him. What's the time going to be for him as he crosses the line? It goes top 128.685 for Fewens. So we have another 128 out there, and he's gone faster by 0.25 of a second over Michelson in behind him. McLeod's gone P3, 129.54. De Vries is still out there in 4th. Sheaf 5th. Ando yet to get a better time in his locker. Has he been hit with overhead baggage, or is he able to get the car up the order? He does, P3, 128.94, so only just off the time of Michelson in P2, but a wild ride off the exit is going to hinder his running qualifying, and he'll have to reset now and just get himself going once again. It's a derailment for Ando off the exit of 1, and that will not help the head at the moment. Sheafy's gone fastest in the first sector in the Shell V-Power McLaren. How well can he do through Sector 3 and Sector 4? This could find him inside the top 5, possibly even inside the top 3, if it's a good enough lap. Ferguson's finally set a time in the session, but it is nothing special, 133.4 for him. Fairly off the pace at the back end of the field. De Vries is going faster again this lap. He's on 2 greens. Sheafy gets another green now in the 3rd sector. What does the 4th look like for the McLaren driver as he rockets around turn 12 and into turn 13? He's done well in the 8 entry. Fewens is bringing it in. Maybe resetting the car. As Sheafy comes up towards the line, what's the time going to be for him? 129.1, good enough for P4. Yet to get into the 28s. De Vries has had to pull out of the lap. That was looking like something special. What about Jared McLeod? He's on all greens at the moment, up towards the back end of the circuit, up towards turn 10, 11, and 12. In that Porsche, the most well-rounded car in the whole field. There's only one of them out there tonight. A couple of McLarens, a couple of Beamers, and a couple of Mercs alongside. No Aston Martins this week. So McLeod up and around the final corner. Where does this put him? Does he go back to P4, or has it not counted? It's counted, but it's not good enough. So 8.5 minutes into qualifying. Fewens currently leads. Michelson P2, Anderson P3, Sheafy in P4, McLeod P5, who was on screen previously. Gretsch on debut here this evening. He's got Johnny Rowe just up the road from him, who's managed to make it through turn 1 this time by, which is good to see. If you guys want to be involved with the iRacing World Challenge and the GT4 Challenge alike, be sure to check out the description of the stream. A link to our Discord is down there. Join the Discord, sign up for the series, and come racing with us. Only a couple of rounds left this season, but next season we've got a massive run coming your way. More GT4s, Ferrari 296 Challenge heading your way as well. It is going to be a mega season here on Infinity Broadcasting and in the iRacing World Challenge as well. Fewens is still top. Ando, can he find some pace to get this car onto the front row? He would love to bullet train this car up ahead of Michelson or even Fewens. Round the final corner now for Ando. He's gone good in Sector 3. How does Sector 4 look? Doesn't look anything special. 129.02. So he's on pace, but he's not quite fast enough to stretch this thing past Jack Michelson at the moment. The whole field's being headed out by the brand new BMW M4 here on iRacing in the GT4 class. And then the Mercs, the Porsche, and the McLarens are all spread out for the rest of the grid. We've got 5 minutes left in qualifying. Not long to go now for these drivers to set these laps and really settle themselves into a better feeling on the start grid. Could be early chaos, could be early carnage. But when the opportunities come knocking on the early doors, you have to answer it. And that's what these drivers will be going through here tonight. That's what they'll be questioning. And that's what they'll be thinking about as well. We're going to go on board with someone for a lap. Who's towards the end of their lap? Sheafy's towards the end of his lap. Let's go on board with Sheafy. We'll sit with him for a lap or so, see what he does around this circuit, and he absolutely ruined it for me. Running the car off the track. So we'll go with Ando, who I know should be able to set a quality lap time for himself here in qualifying. So let's sit with Ando for a lap. We'll see what he does in the V-Line BMW M4. Don't go anywhere. And Ando has ruined that for us by not continuing his lap. He'll reset again for another one. Michelson, though, is on for a quick run here in qualifying as Ando continues round. But Michelson on a purple in the second. Matt Livingston, Mr. Livingston in the chat with us. Didn't realise this track had a rally stage. Yeah, it was set up and really fortified on the 4th of November. 2024 by Jack Anderson. It's only recently come into effect out at Mid-Ohio. So Ando was a real pioneer on that one, if you ask me. But Michelson at the moment, he's got some good pace in this car. So it's P2 at this stage in the session. Oh, now it's actually, no, he's gone P1, sorry. He sits P1. I do apologise. He's got a 128.68. So through all of that kerfuffle, he's gone top. Ahead of Jason Fewens by 0.01 of a second. Barely anything in it between them. In fact, on the breakdown, it's about 0.015. So there is nothing separating these drivers at the moment. Championship leader Michelson leads the way in qualifying. 1 minute and 10 seconds to go. They will get cut off at the 15 minutes. So they've got to get out there and they've got to get laps started. This might be the final opportunity for Ando to get onto the front row. It's not looking like anything absolutely spectacular at this stage. But he is pushing hard to try and get this thing further up the order. Crosses the line, starts another lap. It was a 129-1 that last lap, so he is still consistent, and he's gone off the road and into the sand trap and hard into the wall. In the V-Line machine, that thing absolutely derailed at turn 1, and it's now on its roof. So Fewens looks to be locked into a front row start for the first time this season. He'll cross the line to end out his qualifying. Doesn't go any better. McLeod's not going to get home. De Vries, where is he? He's up at turn 9. Oh, sorry, turn 7. It's too far away for him. He can't quite make it. Gretsch, definitely not. Neither can Rose. So Michelson and Fewens have survived in qualifying. They're going to remain top 2 here out at Mid-Ohio. Slight derailing. Just a slight bit. Bit of oil on the tracks, possibly. So they have gone top of the timing sheets here in qualifying. Race 1 coming your way. Starting grid for this race here this evening. Jack Michelson to start pole position ahead of Jason Fewens. Jack Anderson. Tyler Sheaf on the second row. Jared McLeod will make up the top 5 with Ash De Vries, Kyle Gretsch, Johnny Rowan, Jordan Ferguson making up the back end of the field for a short, sharp 9-car grid here this evening. They'll have a full lap under the safety car. Dare we banter with them whilst they roll around? Was that Carlos Sainz? He is a smooth operator. He is a smooth operator, is Mr. Anderson. But we await them to get going down on the starting grid. Full lap under the safety car. We merely await the top two. P3's on the grid of Anderson, waiting for Sheaf, Gretsch, Ferguson. Of course, the front row of Michelson and Fewens as well. So this is going to be an interesting race for sure, ladies and gentlemen. Mid-Ohio throws a multitude of challenges for these drivers. Who is going to get the jump down towards turn 1 off the rolling start? Will mistakes be made at turn 1? How cold will those tyres be? A slightly delayed start, I see. Okay. How will the run wide off of turn 1 work out for some of these drivers? Let's quickly just ask the question of one of them, actually. Just give us a second. Gentlemen, I'm just going to quickly ask you a question specifically for Johnny Rowe, if he's here. Mr. Rowe.
What?
Are we worried about the wide runs at turn 1? We saw it caught you out during qualifying a little bit and then put you in the wall.
No, I fiddled with my brake pressure bias. I'm good.
All right, very good. Glad that that's been fixed up. Ando, happy with the lap time, or do you reckon you could have gone faster?
My Opti was about half a second faster, so could have gone faster, but
Nope.
I just kept on stuffing it.
Oh, big boy. And then Ashos, Livingston's asked.
Here we go.
He said, didn't realise this track had a rally stage. Care to comment?
It's the first time I've really driven this track, so I'm just inexperienced, one might say, but we'll get there. We'll get there.
He's also
Yeah, hey, all eyes on the white monster today, I reckon.
he's also asked, was that Carlos Sainz? I'm gonna assume he meant for Jackoz when he collided with the wall. But who is a smooth operator in here? Who's the smoothest operator?
It's looking like Michelson at the minute.
Yeah.
Oh, standard.
Without a doubt.
Without a
He's
doubt.
smooth because he can't grow pubic hair.
Oh, sweat lord.
My God. Oh.
Oh, 30 seconds.
So why have we got it?
We don't have to stop, do we?
Why have we got a delayed start for? Who delayed the start?
That's out.
Kyle, I'm having shit.
Race in the bed.
Oh my God.
Get an ice cream in your ass.
Language, boys.
Oh,
All right, boys, let's go.
Best of luck, gentlemen. We look forward to seeing how you go. Oh, absolutely off the rails in there with those boys, ladies and gentlemen. We apologise for some of the language used, but that's what happens when you got an open mic and it's live TV and it's feisty races, pushing buttons and making jokes about each other. What more could you ask for on a Monday night at 8:20 in the evening? Safety cars pulling away though. And we'll follow this grid around the circuit as they continue on. A reminder of your grid: Michelson P1, Fewens P2, Ando P3, McLeod and Sheaf, then Gretsch, DeVries, Rowe, Ferguson. Makes up our grid here this evening. So they'll run around behind the safety car for a lap. They'll hang out for a bit and get themselves prepared for what is to come out at this gorgeous Mid-Ohio circuit. It is a real beauty out here. If you haven't had an opportunity to cut some laps at this track, I highly implore you. It's very difficult, but it is highly worth it. Obviously, we can see there, that's the track map of this circuit. We can track how they're going throughout the night. Track their progress as well. Ferguson really lacking behind here off the start. They always said he's a bit slow, but I didn't realise he was that slow. So they're rolling on through behind this safety car. So will we get some carnage early on? We'll have to wait and see. It's going to be an intense start for these drivers. There's turn 5, one of the tougher corners on the circuit. You come up and around, it's on camber. It's, you go up the hill, and then on apex, you're going down the hill. You're right at the crest of the hill. So it's a real difficult part of the circuit and really offers up a multitude of challenges for these drivers. But good opportunity, though, for there to be chaos from them as well. Round turn 9, another tough part of the course, and up towards 10, 11, 12, and 13. So this race will be getting started momentarily. Pressure's building for these drivers. Frustrations are plenty for possibly not getting their best laps in qualifying. Michelson and Fewens will control the front row of the grid. Anderson and Sheaf. Then McLeod and De Vries. Rowe and Gretsch. Ferguson at the back. Who can take advantage across the start of this race? Control the field will be at the hands of Jack Michelson. Lights out. We are underway at Mid-Ohio for round 7 of the season. As we come through turn number 1, you can see Anderson already attacking early on his fellow BMW drivers on the front row. Michelson covering the inside early doors here on Fewens. Anderson trying to find a pathway round. You see McLeod and Sheaf. McLeod's already made up a spot in this race. Gretsch has made up one as well. That's to the behest of Sheaf and De Vries. As Gretsch is trying to make up a second down the straight now, past the Shell V-Power McLaren of Tyler Sheaf. Gretsch already up into the top 5. McLeod up into the top 4. The top 3 unchanged, though, as Michelson leads. You see Fewens and Anderson side by side in towards turn 5. McLeod's hungry. He can lick his lips at the prosperities of a moment between them as Sheaf's gone round at 5. Sheaf is off the road and at the back of the field, and well, the Shell V-Power crew will not be happy. They already had one car start at the back end of the field. Having another one back there is not a benefit. The benefit, though, is if they finish back there, they will lock out the front row for race number 2. So not a necessarily poor moment for them. They're still getting some good points, but not where they would want to be at this point in the race. Better to happen now than to happen on the last lap. As Johnny Rose had a moment as well down at turn 12. He's gone spinning round. What has happened to Rowe down there to cause this? Oh, just a little bit unweighted. Rear end says hello, and around it went. Very lucky for Ferguson not to get caught up in that one as well. So now Rowe all on his lonesome further back in the field. Michelson, though, still leads. Fewens and Anderson, McLeod, Gretsch, De Vries, Ferguson, Rowe and Sheaf. Everything on the line for them here tonight. As they come through turn 4 and 5. So Ando's done well off this race start. He's hanging with Fewens inside the car. It's very loud. We'll turn them down. So Ando really putting the pressure here on Fewens. Fewens trying to hang on to it. As is Anderson. And that's the view off the back of Fewens' car. Just major pressure coming from Anderson. Every bit of pressure you could ask for at this point in the race, Fewens has got it. So Michelson leads. Fewens and Ando in behind. That top 3 unchanged at the moment. McLeod's up 1, as we mentioned. Gretsch, impressive off the start. He's already up 2. But he's got De Vries all over the back of him at this stage. They've done very, very well at this point in the race. On board now with De Vries. In that Mercedes, and the car preview is absolutely atrocious, I must say. But on board with De Vries as Anderson and Fewens are battling further up the road, side by side between them. Ando's gotten the job done He has indeed. He's up into P2. So a mega moment there for Anderson. And now he looks ahead to Jack Michelson, and the chase down begins. The double Jack attack at the front end of the field. Fewens will be hopeful here. I mean, it's only 4 minutes into this race. He'll be hopeful that the double Jacks, will they come back to bite each other? Maybe a little bit of a backhand or two between them. At least to Fewens taking the lead of the race, but that's all he can hope for at this stage. Anderson, though, has done so well off the start. Has some great pace around here, as does Fewens. Top three, well, they're not changed. They're unchanged by what drivers are in the top three, but they're changed by a couple of them who have now swapped positions. As Sheafy is still struggling at the back of the field, another off track for him. Michelson sets fastest lap of the race, though, 1:28.73 last time by. So it was a good lap from him. Anderson did a 28 as well. It was a 28.88, so he's right there on the pace. Fewens struggled, a 29.5 for last lap, 29.1 for McLeod, so he's gaining. He's starting to gain on Fewens, and will start to put the pressure on him throughout the rest of this race as well. Gretchen De Vries, they're still together. Rowe, Ferguson, Sheaf making up the field at the moment. Is up through turn 5. Michelson is just doing so well to control this field, control this car, keep himself in check. This circuit's not one that he's ultimately comfortable with. Hasn't cut a lot of laps here, hasn't raced a lot of races here. Could that cost him tonight in not taking a win here for the first time in around all season? Only time will tell. He is leading the championship for a reason. He's been ultra dominant in this BMW. He's been leading from the front every week. The talk of the town, the reason why his number is orange on the timing tower. Bernardo's right there. He can taste victory. He took one hell of a victory last week at the Red Bull Ring over Michelson. Cost him the double win. It was an incredible moment for Anderson to get that win, to get that ego and that presence back about him that he had back in the Legends World Challenge when he won the championship in Season 1 of that series. But you just have a feeling that it's coming back to him, but Michelson is still as dominant as ever. I mean, what's happened to De Vries? He won the Legends last season. It hasn't translated to success here in the GT4s. The 404 is still rolling around, P6 on the road, and, well, really, he is not up to pace at this stage, but he doesn't put a hell of a lot of laps in. He's here for the fun. He's here to have a good time in the GT4s, and that's what we love. We love when drivers are racing just to have some fun and just to join us on a Monday night for a nice, intense, but competitive racing series. Markson's now started to build up the gap, 1.7 seconds over Anderson, who's under pressure from Fewens once again. So there's tyres starting to come back down to temp for Fewens, and he's able to put the attack back onto Anderson at the front of the field. 7:20 done in this race, around about 12.5 minutes left to run. And Ando has done a wicked job to get this car up into P2. He's kept the pace all evening, but the laps are just not running as smoothly as what he'd hoped. And last lap he gave up a hell of a lot of time, nearly 3/4 of a second across that whole lap to Jack Michelson. It's a big net loss for him. And it'll be tough to pull that back, especially with Michelson setting such consistent laps. In fact, he set the second fastest lap of the race last time by to Michelson, a 1:28.72. The lap before, Ando actually had the fastest lap of 1:28.64. So they are running at an immense amount of pace, but Fewens' last lap gained a hell of a lot over Anderson. This is our closest battle on track for P2 on the road. McLeod is still there, lurking in the background. He'll be ready to pounce at the opportunity that these cars could create for him if they tangle and if they come together. He's arguably got the best seat in the house at the moment for this battle. In fact, that gap's now down to under a second. So he is scratching and clawing his way back into this fight for P2. Let's sit on board with him for this lap because this is going to be quite an important one for him if he can maximise. So on board with McLeod now. P4 on the road. He's chasing down Jason Fewens and Jack Anderson at this stage in the battle for P2 on the road. This needs to be a mega lap from him. He's given up a little bit of time to them over the final sector of the last lap. So let's just sit on board with him, see what he does for the first, second and third sector. And we'll come back with him and just check it how he's progressing in this battle with them. So we can see on the Delta in the bottom corner, he hasn't given up too much time across the last 6 laps of this race. End of lap 1, it was 1.2 seconds. End of last lap was 1.281. He has an off track on the exit, and he's lost a heap of time now to them across that lap. So unfortunate there for McLeod to lose that many laps. Or to lose that much time, on his Delta compared to those cars up ahead. Not what he would have wanted at this stage in the race, but he'll keep fighting forward. He'll try and chase them down as best he can, but needs to try and cut some consistent lap times. Further back, Ash De Vries has now dropped some time off of Kyle Gretsch. This is what's happened to him up at turn 12. And that's one of those wide runs that can happen up at 12. Very lucky not to end up even further out off track. Did well to get it back on. And then Sheafy had this moment as well. Had his teammate Ferguson ahead of him on the road. Oh, and he locked it up, trying to stop himself from hitting his own teammate. So this has been a race to forget for Sheafy for sure. And then this was the outer car shot of the moment for McLeod after turn 13 onto the main straight. So ran it way wide. Wild run over the curvature. Just had to keep it on going. So that was unfortunate for him. But at this point of the race, it is still being led by Jack Michelson. But Ando has started to chase him down. Gap is now down to 1.2 seconds. Last lap for Ando was a 28.59. Last lap for Michelson was a 29.09. What does it look like this time by? As he crosses the line, it's a 29.003, and it's another net gain for Ando and for Fewens, so they are chasing him down. Last lap was a 28.8 for Ando, 28.7 for Fewens. McLeod did a 32, so an unfortunate lap time for him. So the last few laps for these 3 drivers has been quite incredible. So if we look at it here, so Anderson lap 4 went faster than both of them. Lap 5, Michelson outlapped both of them as well as lap 6. But 7 and 8, Michelson has dropped time to both Anderson and Fewens. So he's getting chased down at the moment, but he has started to counteract as Anderson makes a mistake down at turn 4. That's going to allow Fewens to come through, and it's given Michelson one hell of a lifeline with 7 minutes to go. This has given Michelson one hell of a lifeline now. Fewens and Anderson, this is what they can't do. They couldn't start battling. They had to work together to get up onto the back of Michelson. They're door-to-door up through turn 10 and 11. Who's going to come out the victor? Fewens has to back out of it. Anderson not willing to lift. Switch back though for Fewens. Ando has the inside line for turn 12. Battle is on for P2 as Fewens has lost the rear end and he's gone round. Out of all of that, Fewens has gone round. He's going to give up the spot now to McLeod, who comes through at 13. And Fewens fought so hard to try and get that spot. He ended up losing out in the end, but Gretchen De Vries are now starting to catch him. Livingston in the chat has De Vries blown out the rear end. Oh, sorry, I got confused with his last tin today. Yeah, Matt. He blew out the rear end. He blew out the rear end. Kyle Gretsch at the moment inside the top 5 with an impressive run thus far. 6 minutes left to run in this race. He has an opportunity now to chase down Jason Fewens, but Fewens has consistently been running quicker laps than all 3 of these drivers, McLeod, Gretsch and De Vries. The difference is, though, his tyres will be overheated. There might be some flat spots on them as well after that minor spin for himself at turn 12. This has now left Anderson all on his lonesome. 4 seconds is now the gap up to Michelson. Pretty unattainable with 5.5 minutes left. He's then got 5.5 seconds back to Jared McLeod in P3. So Ando's looking pretty well locked and loaded for P2 on the road here tonight in race number 1. Could be one hell of a podium for him after last week's victory at the Red Bull Ring. But the battle now we have to focus on is this one. Fewens and McLeod battle for P3. If these guys come together, Gretsch and De Vries are going to take advantage. They'll claim a free spot or 2. As they come round turn 13, 5 minutes to go. Fewens and McLeod, battle is on for P3. De Vries and Gretsch battling in the background as well. It's Porsche versus Beamer. It's McLaren versus Merc. That's the gap that they've got up to Anderson. 5.6 seconds is the gap. And Fewens is hungry to get that P3 back. Tyres the only rubber Ash uses. It's ribbed for his pleasure. Fewens, though, with some intense amounts of pressure here on McLeod. It'd be like going to a Chinese masseuse on a Friday afternoon, just getting that back fully rubbed down, fully heated up. And the pressure on all those knots in your system. That's what Fewens is doing to McLeod right now. He's putting all sorts on McLeod. Gretsch and De Vries, they're battling in the background, but Fewens and McLeod, they're separated by absolutely nothing for P3. Michelson and Anderson well into P2 and P1 on the road. 3.5 minutes left, only a couple of laps. Rose locked into P7 at the moment. Sheaf's up into P8. Fewens up the inside of McLeod at 12. Is McLeod going to be willing to go side by side through 13? He is. Battles on between them. A little bit of a knock on the rear of Fewens' car. They somehow survive it. And Fewens has gotten the job done and is up into P3 once again. But he's had a net loss of 6.2 seconds on Jack Anderson just from his spin alone. And I don't know if McLeod has the wherewithal or the patience or the pace to get the job back done on Fewens without a mistake being made from the BMW driver. Gretsch and De Vries, they're still hot at it. De Vries trying to send it to get onto the back of Gretsch's car. It really is the battle of the single ladies out here between Gretsch and De Vries. Who can claim the victory? It'll be a top 5 if they can get it done. And it's a beautiful little 1v1 for us in the mid-pack of the field. 2.5 minutes left. Not long left to go in this race. Michelson is 15.5 seconds up the road from this battle. In fact, he's up and coming round turn 12 into turn 13. So there should be 2 laps left to go when he crosses the line. I never heard De Vries up the inside of a dude before. But De Vries is like a barn door. He swings both ways, Livingston. I thought you knew this. And he's putting a massive amount of pressure, as he would normally do on a Saturday night, here on to Gretsch on a Monday night in the GT4s. He's just stalking on him at the moment. Jaws theme playing in your head, I'm sure. But if he can get this move done, it'll be a hell of a run for him. He's been stuck behind that McLaren for pretty much the entirety of this race. So if he can continue to apply the pressure, continue to keep this pressure up on Gretsch, it'll be one hell of a top 5 finish for De Vries if he can get the move done. Nearly 60 seconds to go. Should be one more lap when they cross the line. So De Vries has got plenty of opportunity to get it done. It's just how willing is he to send it on Gretsch. Up through 5 they come. Gaps now down to less than 0.3 of a second. De Vries is all over him like a bad smell. He's trying to lube him up for a slippery dip up the inside. But he cannot quite get there just yet. Might need a blue pill to get it started for himself. Up through 11. In towards turn 12. Gretsch is starting to counteract this now. He started to pull out himself a nice little 1/10 over De Vries. Round the final corner. 1 lap to go. White flag lap. In the battle for P5. Michelson is 7.6 seconds up the road from Anderson. So then 4.6 seconds back to Fewens, then 1.3 back to McLeod, and then it's 3.6 back to this one for P5. He's flashing the headlights at the moment and trying to put off Kyle Gretsch as best he can. Any trick in his playbook he could find, De Vries will be willing to use it right now. Does he get the run out of turn 2? He's right there on the rear wing of Kyle Gretsch, 0.2 of a second. He'll have the tow, he'll have the suck. Ferguson's on the side of the road letting the field past him. Oh, sorry, that might be Tyler Sheaf, actually. It is, it was Sheafy. So this battle, hotly contested. For P5, it hasn't ended just yet. Michelson, though, is entering into the final sector. Turn 12 for him. He got given the lifeline of Fewens and Anderson battling. He then responded to build the gap out to nearly 9 seconds. Round turn 13 he comes. And Jack Michelson takes the win in race number 1 here this evening. Jack Anderson now round the final couple of corners. He'll take P2. And then Jason Fewens will come home in P3 to make it an all BMW podium here for race number 1. McLeod in P4. Kyle Gretsch. There's been contact with Gretsch and with De Vries. Gretsch and De Vries have made contact down at turn 13. What has happened? In the battle for P5, and Gretsch has actually now lost out to Johnny Rowe. That's what's happened. De Vries has spun him round. And Rowe's actually gotten past both of them to take one hell of a top 5 finish. What an end to this race. What an end. This was, I'm not going to be able to show you now. It skipped it ahead for me, but I was going to show you Rowe passing them. But unfortunately, we weren't able to catch that one. Quick ad break coming your way now, though, ladies and gentlemen. 5-minute warm-up for these drivers. So go get yourself a drink or a snack. Anything you want to do. Go to the loo, whatever it is. We'll be back in 5 minutes because race 2 is coming your way. Don't go anywhere.
World of Outlaws Dirt Racing 24 will be available September 17th. Pre-order your copy today.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back off the ad break, ladies and gentlemen. We've got the drivers in with us now for a quick little chat. Firstly, with Kyle and Ashos, was that a predetermined cuddle that you guys made, or was that just a bit of a swipe right and meet up?
It was definitely a surprise for me.
Ashos came, he arrived, he left.
Yes.
He's through. He bolted.
So we saw a couple of spins up at turn 12, namely from Mr. Rowe, Mr. DeVries, and then unfortunately for you, Jason, trying to battle with Jack Oz, you ended up looping the rear of the car around. Was there not thoughts between you both, maybe we should actually just try and work together to catch up to Michelson? Because that kind of just gave him the win at that point when you started battling.
Full send.
Full send, full time?
Yeah.
There is no friends in this lobby.
No, it just doesn't cook.
Once the
I
track
still
goes
reckon
green,
that,
yeah.
I just have to say that Ash and Kyle's crash was all Johnny's fault.
What do you mean? It was definitely Jordan's fault for being a lap down.
He did not assist in that process, I will admit.
Yep.
In the redress, he did not assist.
Yep. It was because that was Jordan. That was Jordan down the back straight, wasn't it?
Yep,
Yeah,
it was.
Yeah, no, Jordan's fault. I think we can all agree, being that he's not here to defend himself.
Ash was trying to do the right thing and get back the position, and Jordan had different ideas. He wanted to just have the winner.
Alrighty.
Well, what's the plan then for this race? Obviously, it's a double Shell V-Power on the front row. Is it assault those McLarens and then Kyle and DeVries, you get back to your battle, or is it just Wall of China to Ando and Michelson to not let them through?
I'm going to send it straight down the middle of those two McLarens and make an Eiffel Tower out of it.
Hey, yo.
I would expect nothing less. Best of luck in race number 2. Look forward to seeing how you all go.
I'm also starting next to Johnny.
Hey, McLarens.
Everyone on the outside, don't go yet because I don't know what way my wheel is facing at the moment.
Don't forget to quit, boys. 7 seconds.
Boys, let's go.
That sounds like a Sheafy problem, so I'll leave you to it.
Best into me.
Thanks, mate. Thanks, mate.
Best of luck in the race. So full lap coming from these boys now underneath the safety car on the warm-up. Starting grid for this race will be as follows. Jordan Ferguson will start pole alongside his Shell V-Power teammate of Tyler Sheaf on the front row, with Kyle Gretsch and Ash DeVries continuing their battle, but higher up the grid here in this race. Johnny Rowe, Jared McLeod alongside each other, with Jason Fewens, Jack Anderson and Jack Michelson making up the grid this evening for race number 2. 20 minutes to come your way for the feature race here this evening. Lights will go out at the end of this one. Get your comments in. Get your predictions in. Can Michelson go back-to-back in race number 2? Or will it come at the behest of another driver getting the win? Sheafy and Ferguson on the front row. Will they tangle as teammates? They nearly did in race number 1. We heard DeVries's, well, we'll call him plans for race number 2. He's just going to send it. We'll see if that pays off for him, if it ends in absolute chaos at the front end of the field. McLeod's a bit of an unknown. We know that Ando and Fewens have got some good pace. Rowe was a bit of a surprise riser in race number 1 after taking advantage of the moment between Gretsch and De Vries down at turn 13. So realistically, this is now going to come down to who can survive this race, who can do the best that they can to continue on and get up towards the prospects of prosperity here this evening. So Sheaf and Ferguson on the front row. Race start about to come your way. Shell v Power lock out the front row in race 2. Gretchen De Vries in behind. Rowan McLeod as well. Can Fewens, Ando and Michelson make their way up to the front of the field by the end of lap 1? Wait and see as we go racing for race number 2. We are underway. And it's a terrific start from both of the McLarens on the front row. Gretsch is trying to make it a 3-way dance here as Ferguson's lost out early to Gretsch, shoving it up the inside. He snuck it in there like a little sneaky devil that he is, and he's up into P2 already. They're getting feisty further back. Rose trying to make moves. McLeod is there as well. It's 3 wide into turn 2. Anderson trying to go for an outside run. All the BMWs are together as McLeod's gone round thanks to Rowe. Anderson's had a moment as well, but he's kept going with Michelson. Rowe and McLeod make contact at the exit of 2. And this has given one hell of an advantage to some of those front runners, knowing the sort of pace that McLeod had, and Rowe had a very clean run in the last race. The BMW battle continues though with Fewens and Michelson. Anderson hot on their heels at this stage. So they will continue to fight. Ferguson, De Vries, Gretchen, Chief will just have to hope that it slows them up enough to build some gap. We're only a minute into this race and it's already heated up to an extraordinary level. Feels like Oppenheimer a little bit, like we're in the deserts of Arizona testing out some nuclear facilities. As they run up through turn 11 in towards turn 12, Sheaf still leads. Gretsch, after the run off the start line, already up into the top 3 as well as De Vries. Their battle's now going to continue in throughout race number 2, you have a feeling. Ferguson holding on by an absolute thread in P4, and the Beamers are battling. They're battling as hard as ever. Fewens trying to defend the lead of this little battle pack. You have a feeling this could be the lead, the provisional lead of this race as they start to pick their way through this field. Ferguson, is he going to leave the door open for Fewens to come through? Is he going to try and defend the position? Fewens is going to try and send it. Ferguson parks the car in the middle of the road. Ferguson loses the spot to Fewens. Here comes Michelson on the run out of the corner. Fewens covers him off so Ferguson can't come back at him. Ando's flashing the lights. They're intensely trying to get past that Shell V-Power McLaren of Ferguson. Their battle now continues on, but they have to contest with the battle of Gretchen De Vries, and you have a feeling there may be an outsider getting hurt in this one. Anderson up the outside of Michelson, now has the inside line at 5, gets the job done. Fewens still leading this battle at the moment. Gretchen De Vries, they're trying to run away. They can see the Coyote coming, and the Roadrunners are just trying to spread their legs and fly away at the moment. Up through 9 and into 10. Fewens has had a wicked start to defend this position thus far. A mega job from him. Anderson and Michelson are still there at the moment. We can see the timing tower looks as follows. Sheaf is still up front. Gretsch, De Vries. Anderson tried to go for a move on Fewens. He covered that inside line to perfection. And that's ruined the run for Anderson onto the main straight. Michelson is now right on his tail. He's hot on his heels. Is Jack Michelson on board with him now as they rocket up towards turn 2. Michelson trying to find a way around the V-line machine. Fewens is covering the inside. That's going to help Ando a little bit, but Michelson now sneaks it up the inside on him. Keeps on going. Down the back straight now. Ando's not happy. He felt like he may have gotten forced out wide by Fewens a little bit there, but this battle is intensifying. But what has happened to De Vries? Why has he dropped down the order? Out of all of this, we've missed some chaos of De Vries. Oh, it was a big slide through one. That's what cost him. He nearly put it into the wall. Did well to pull it up. But that's cost him in this battle, and it's made life easier for the likes of Fewens, Michelson, and Anderson. Gretsch now will be feeling like Megadeth. He'll be sweating bullets up in P2. Sheafy right now, he might feel like a bit of a tornado of souls, and he'll just be hoping to get sucked away and stay in the lead of the race. As it's the top two made up by the McLarens, then it's the three Beamers, McLaren of Ferguson, Porsche of McLeod, the two Mercs of De Vries. As Fewens is gone at turn 12. There was contact possibly made by one of the other two Beamers. Fewens off the road. Heavy damage on that car. That might see him traverse through the lane, and that takes him out of contention at this stage. What has happened down at turn 12 and 13? Michelson. Oh, it was Michelson. He was on his outside. Bit of an interlock between them, and that's what's caused him to go round. You have to feel for him. It was a great battle. There you see it, the overlap, and then around he goes. Oh, that's a real issue. That's unfortunate for them. They have to continue on, but the battle is on now between Ando and Michelson. Oh, as Anderson's gone off the road at 4. He's been absolutely done by Michelson, and now all the work is to be done for Anderson to get past him. A mistake at 4 for Anderson has taken him out of the contention slot. Gretsch is further up the road. Sheaf is still there. But, man, you've got to feel for him. You've got to feel for Ando. You've got to feel for Fewens, who's in the pit lane, and this could be race done for him. This is what happened to Fewens. Is he had another off track? Oh, and that thing just had heavy damage already. Was not turning, had to tow it back, and it's unfortunate. But that's taking him right out of contention. May have to be some arguments made to maybe get Michelson to drive through the lane off the back of that moment there. Maybe we'll ask the boys. We'll find out. So Ando now sits in P3 or P4. Michelson in P3. Gretsch doing well in P2. Let's sit on board for a lap here with Kyle Gretsch. And we'll see how he is attacking this Mid-Ohio circuit. Since he's out of a battle at the moment, we'll be back very soon. So Gretsch is he's looking nice and tidy at the moment. He's doing well here just to keep this thing in line and keep it in check. He still has Jack Michelson soft in behind him at this stage. There's been whispers of a possibility of a penalty coming for Michelson. But we'll have to wait and see. If he ends up traversing through the lane, that would answer the question. But he's hot on the heels now of Gretsch. Sheafy leads the way. Ando's further back, about 5 seconds. So has he had a moment? He has. I think he's actually had another off track on the... No, this was the one that was earlier. This is what actually got Michelson P3. So he just ran it a bit too hot. Ran it out wide onto the grass. That was unfortunate there for Ando. But Michelson's pushing hard now. He has caught some grass on the exit. And has to now just keep himself running and keep himself going here in P3. As Michelson chases down Kyle Gretsch, we are about nearly 9 minutes into this race. 11 minutes to go, not long left. But it feels like an eternity for these drivers, especially when they're in these battles. Just waiting for when their opportunities can come, waiting for when they can apply the pressure. As Michelson, oh my God, that's a wild ride for Anderson in the background, and he's hard into the wall of the exit of one. A big moment for Ando. That takes him out of contention in this race. Through all of that, Michelson's now taken P2 on the road. That is a massive, massive stack for Anderson. So this is when we first saw it. So here's Michelson lining it up. Down at 2, and then you can see Ando in the background. Just absolutely in for a wild, wild ride. Off the back of that one. That is a huge moment in this race. Look at this. This was the run through. So caught the curb. Got a bit unsettled. Ran it wide. Tried to catch it. Catches the driveway. And then a big run into the wall. That's a massive stack. Blown engine. Car's cooked in the pit lane. He's blaming Johnny. So now all the pressure will lie on Tyler Sheaf. P1 on the road. He's led the entire race. He's up one spot off the grid. As Phelan sets fastest lap of the race, but he is a lap down. Ferguson's out. So we've got 7 cars left running, 6 of them on the lead lap. And Sheafy is under immense pressure right now under Jack Michelson. Let's ask the chat, what do they think? Does answer the question. Do you think Michelson deserves a drive-through for the contact with Fewens? It would take massive pressure off Sheaf, but it would also really change up the course of this race. Play on from Jack Oz. So Michelson is now hot on the heels. Payback next week. I'm sure there will be from Fewens. So Sheaf is now under immense pressure from Michelson. We've got 8 minutes to go in this race. Michelson sets the fastest lap of the race last time by 128.4. Sheaf is under all sorts of pressure. How hard does he defend it with his one hand? One hand on the wheel. Usually one hand somewhere else, but he can't because that hand's now broken. So Michelson trying to get the run down towards turn 4 into the braking zone, and it could be done and dusted from here. Has the double come for Jack Michelson here this evening? Ando's back out on track, and he's gained the spot over Fewens. Michelson gets the lead back in this race, and now he's only 7 minutes away from doing the double here at Mid-Ohio. The Skibbity Rizzler himself back in the lead. That moment between Michelson and Fewens possibly was a bit of phantom tax. But Skibbity Toilet Mid-Ohio has absolutely cooked us up. A proper extraordinary race. The vibes have been immaculate. And besties, I hope you've enjoyed it in the chat this evening. Some of these drivers have been caught in 4K, especially Michelson when he took out Fewens. And especially Anderson when he's ended up in the wall at the exit of turn 1 as well. So Michelson should have this win well in hand. Everyone is now gapped out as Ferguson's back out on circuit. You see him coming out of pit lane further back in the field. And now it is just a straight run to the checkered flag, you feel. Everyone's spread out above multiple seconds. There we can see the leaderboard of who is who and where everyone's ended up. So some big gaps. No real big battles happening. Closest one we can maybe see is Anderson and Fewens, who are a lap down. They could start battling it out for P7 possibly. So Ando and Fewens, they're about 3.6 seconds separated. Fewens not really looking like he could catch him, but he has got some good pace. They've got Jared McLeod in between them at the moment in the Sparko entry in the Porsche, the 99 car. Fanatec as well on that thing. He's done well to come back in this race after a moment in race number 1 and an early moment in this one as well. He finds himself P4 on the road, as Michelson sets another fastest lap of the race, this time by. As McLeod and Fewens, they're not battling for position, remember. Fewens is a lap down. So he has every right to unlap himself, but he needs to do it within the rules as well. Remembering blue flag rules do apply. So he does have to keep it interesting with himself. Only 4 minutes left to run in this race. Not long left to go. And the battle is on for, well, just bragging rights at this stage for Fewens to say, hey, I could have beat you, McLeod, if we were on the same lap. Michelson, though, has this race well in hand. Sheaf P2, Gretsch P3. It makes you wonder, you know, do we need something to be put in place to try and stop this sort of thing happening? Does a random safety car have to be deployed? Do we need to implement, you know, just maybe a forced pit stop for some drivers in the field? Do we have to do that maybe? Just to spice it up a little bit. Maybe limit the fuel, force the strategy play of, do I save and try and get to the end, or do I take the one stop? Let us know in the chat. Maybe conversations will be had in the background. It's all a learning experience. It is the first season of the GT4 Challenge here on Infinity Broadcasting with the IRWC. So plenty of opportunities for growth and plenty of opportunities for us to improve as well. So 3 minutes left. Michelson has a 3.9 second gap over Tyler Sheaf. Kyle Gretsch is in P3 at the moment. He's had a good run. He started from this position, hasn't made a mistake just yet. Early moment with De Vries losing it out at turn 1 has probably helped him a little bit in that scenario, taking the pressure massively off him. He's got McLeod around about 5 seconds in behind him, trying to chase him down. Fewens has finally gotten that job done to unlap himself ahead of Jared McLeod here. But there's not enough time in this race for him to come back and get back onto the lead lap at this stage. Jordan Ferguson still circulating. He's actually pushing Johnny Rowe back to cross the line. And what has happened with these two for Fergo to have to push Johnny Rowe back across the line, I wonder? So, okay, so this was Ferguson pulling up on lap 8. And then he had... up ahead of him. That might be... Oh no, so he's actually pulled it off the track to let these cars pass. So what's happened to Rowe in all of this? So he's kept going. He's still here, but he has got a little bit of damage on that front end. A little bit pushed in, but not too bad. Very weird, very interesting as to why that would need to happen for Ferguson and Rowe. As Ferguson's still just circulating. Just pull it up at this point, Jordan. You know, just pull it up. Put it in the pits. You'll get some points. There's no point continuing around a lap down on the whole field. We've got a minute and 15 left. Should be one more lap after this one to run. For Jack Michelson to the checkered flag. He's got 5 seconds behind him to Tyler Sheaf. I mean, if he just lifted the throttle a little bit and just waited, we wouldn't have to go the extra lap. But he's not going to do that. He's going to push on, and he's going to push on to do the full 14 laps of this 20-minute feature race here this evening. It was a full reverse grid. He's done well to survive. He was very lucky to get away with the moment with Fewens as he comes around turn 12 and in towards turn 13 at the end of the circuit. 30 seconds left. White flag will be flown by Barney. Final lap of the race here at Mid-Ohio. The final lap of round 7 for race 14 of the season. Michelson will extend his lead in the championship exponentially here this evening, being that he has won a race every single round that he's competed, and he's gone back-to-back here tonight. He's done the double out at Mid-Ohio. Only a few seconds left before the timer expires. But Michelson has done the job to get this car back in the lead, to extend his gap out to 7 odd seconds. It's been an extraordinary run for him. Sheafy's done well. He's back where he started this race in P2, so he's done well to consolidate that. Same for Kyle Gretsch as well. And we'll have to keep an eye on this because Johnny Rowe and Jack Anderson are now on track together, and there could be fireworks as this is for position, and Ando is pushing to get it past him at this stage. So there could be fireworks between these two, being that Rowe is now a lap down, and Ando is chasing him down like a hawk as well. We'll have to keep an eye on that one materialising. But up through turn 10 and 11 for Jack Michelson for the second race in a row tonight. He will not only win the round, he'll win both races out at Mid-Ohio in round 7. Round turn 13 he comes now, and Jack Michelson does the perfect job. He wins race 2 at Mid-Ohio. Tyler Sheaf will come home in P2 in an extraordinary moment for him to get it on the podium. Kyle Gretsch, he'll come home in P3. McLeod in P4, who's off the road at the moment. De Vries has actually gotten past him. De Vries has gone round and he's taken P4 from McLeod. So De Vries in an extraordinary effort, an extraordinary comeback across this whole race. He's back into the top 4. McLeod will come home in the 5. Rowe, Fewens and Anderson will make up the rest of the grid. But there was a moment with Anderson at that final corner where he's ended up off track. He was with Johnny Rowe. Oh, it looks like they made contact, and that's a wild run for him. A wild run for Rando down there. What happened? Oh, they tangled, and that's what sent him round. And the McLeod as well also had a moment down there. Oh, it was Ando rejoining the track. That's what sent McLeod off the road, and that's what's cost him P4. So there might be prices to pay for some of these drivers next week. Possibly a rear of grid for Michelson, Anderson, and Rowe. Wow, wow, wee. What a way to end it here at Mid-Ohio. What a way to end it for these drivers out on track. Let's get some replays happening for you in this race. We'll get a better one than this because that's way too late in the lap. There we go. That's a bit better. We'll have a chat to the drivers post-race and see what they think about this one.
He fucking deserves it.
Skibbity Riz boys. So, you know, Skibbity Toilet Mid-Ohio really collected up some caught in 4K moments for sure. Some phantom tax getting paid.
FR.
Some possible no-cap moments where, you know, maybe we have to look at Mr. Michelson, Mr. Anderson, and Mr. Rowe starting rear of grid next week in race number 1.
Oh, shit.
Definitely Mr. Rowe, starting from Mid-Ohio next week.
Yeah.
Yeah. You turned over on me. You turned across on me.
Well, regardless, I think Ando definitely has to start rear field for that rejoining, costing Mr. McLeod P4.
No, I was already on the road. It's all good.
I'm going to nominate it tonight.
But boys, I'm going to be honest, it got a bit boring after a while because all of you decided, hey, let's have a crash, or that should be boring and try and build gap.
Well,
Did you
funny
see
thing is,
drones I had under my car?
Jacko and I realised that brake bias reset for the second race, and halfway. That's why we went off at the end of the straight.
Only you went off. Michelson didn't.
No, Michelson also did.
Didn't look like it on
Not
my
as
screen.
big.
Oh,
Gonna had a few cones as well.
Jack, yeah, I just saw that rejoin. Oh my god.
It's almost as bad as the fucking turn into the corner, like I wasn't there again.
that's some D
Detroit fell all
class
over
shit.
That's D class all
That's
over, mate.
rookie. That's rookie class, mate.
Yeah, that's MX5 sort of
I think
stuff.
you definitely owe Jared an apology because you cost him a top 4. But De Vries, like the sneaky closet man that he is, just burst through the
Vries.
door and was like, "I'm here to pick up the pieces."
Well, yeah, there was debris everywhere.
You got to do the semi Bradbury sometimes. I'm not going to call that a full Bradbury, but after my mistake on lap 2 or 3 there, I just had the red mist chasing Kyle, and yeah, got a little bit wobbly, but
You definitely left a bit of
the breadcrumbs at the end.
So when you spun it at 1, did you find the mystery man you on the road? Was that the problem?
Redacted, no comment.
Can we just talk about his like full assist and me getting to B2?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it was a wild run off
He
the
was
start
the
for you there,
ultimate
Kyle.
wingman.
Jordan,
Yeah.
I literally
What?
got punted into turn 2.
Jordan,
into
why,
VP2.
why didn't you just back out of the race when you were a lap down on literally the cars who were a lap down?
I wanted to finish the race.
By driving on the grass?
I threatened him there'd be no more sand drops if he quit.
I think it might have been because Jordan just doesn't touch grass and he decided, well, this is an opportunity to.
Watch me, bro.
And then, obviously, Michelson, you did the double tonight in the Skibbity Toilet Mid-Ohio 40-minute absolute blinder of 2 races. You didn't get to do the double last week after the battle with Ando, but you did back it up this week at Ohio. So how are you looking forward to next week when I think we're going racing, if I check the calendar? Hopefully it's correct. We go racing at VIR.
Yeah, good night tonight. Just a apology to Jason. That last race tangle.
Not accepted.
Attention.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
lying. He's lying.
But yeah, it was a mistake. I was a bit over eager, so I do apologise.
No, it was
for that.
not.
But in terms
It
of
was
tonight, yeah,
Johnny's
really
fault.
happy that I managed to get the 2. It's something I haven't been able to do, I don't think, all year yet. So it was good to finally get the double, and yeah, we're looking forward to next week.
Well, double W's for you. Next week at VIR, you know, obviously there's a corner that's named after a word that could probably describe a lot of the drivers in this series, i.e. bitch corner at turn 1 of VIR.
I thought there was a well hung corner at VIR.
It'll be named Jack's Corner by the end of it.
I'm sure you'll be hoping that. Well, I'm sure you guys will be willing to battle through there nice and hard, and not that surprised that when I noticed that Ando was catching Rowe and he was pushing to catch him, that they did tangle. So maybe we need to keep a score tally of whose fault it is for all incidents between Johnny Rowe and Jack Anderson going forward.
It's always been Johnny's fault.
That
was all Jack.
Johnny's fault.
Actually,
Jordan?
there is one time that was me, which was at the start of Silverstone. The other time it was
And just
Johnny was
then?
turning me.
I'm an innocent bystander in all of this.
Well, however you may feel, we're gonna let we'll let the fans decide on that one by the end of the season, if there are any. I hope there are. That would be great. But thanks for having a chat with me. Thanks for racing, boys. It was a great race to call. Hopefully next week's a bit better with VIR and we can get some nice close battles happening. I reckon we need to just implement random safety car at some point, just to close it all up and just see when it happens. Just roll the dice, or maybe we implement a sequence of you either save fuel to get home or you have to do a pit stop. Maybe that'll change it up a little bit.
Maybe.
Who knows? All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that will bring an end to our broadcast here this evening for the iRacing World Challenge GT4 Challenge out at Mid-Ohio for round 7 of season 1. I've been Hamish Monroe, your commentator here tonight. Thank you so much for joining me once again. We'll see you guys next week for VIR when we go racing for round 8. But until then, be sure to hit the like button, the subscribe, and the bell icon as well. And until then, stay safe, drive hard, and as always, bye for now.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.